So here we are today, we're talking about my favorite backpacking tents. As you can see, I have the Nemo Dagger 2-person tent over here on my right, and I have the Nemo Hornet 1-person tent on my left. I now have their sleeping bag and their sleeping pads, but it all started with this tent. First thing that speaks to the quality of these tents is the fact that I've been using them for so long and so much. I've been using this tent for 4 years and there is still no leaks, there are no holes, there's no rips, there's no tears. Everything works and everything looks pretty much like the day that I bought it. Nemo is a company that was founded in 2004 out of Rhode Island. The name Nemo is inspired by Jules Verne's character, Captain Nemo, but it also stands for New England Mountain Outfitter. There's a lot of backpacking gear out there. A lot of it is just rinse and repeat. How cheap can we make this? How quickly can we get it out? Nemo really cares about their product, about the innovation behind their products, and they're still small enough where you can get a hold of their customer service team. It's those little things that you don't see when you actually purchase the tent. The only thing I've ever broken on one of these tents is a tent pole section on this tent during a high windstorm. What did I do? All I did was email Nemo. They immediately sent a tent pole replacement for me to repair my tent free of charge. If you want to see how to repair Nemo tent poles, I have a video on that. You can click this card up here, or there's a link down in the description of this video. So besides the durability, besides the customer service, the other thing that obviously stands out with these tents is the size to weight ratio that they provide. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it's your first backpacking tent, I would recommend getting the 2-person Nemo Dagger before, I don't know if we'd call it upgrading, but going to a smaller 1-person tent. With the 2-person, it is still small enough for you to take on your solo trips. And if you ever have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a significant other, a dog that you want to add to your tent, it's right there. You don't have to go ahead and purchase another tent. 42 inches high, so you can sit up in it. And I also appreciate the 2 vestibules, a vestibule on each side and the 2 doors, so that if you have someone sleeping with you, they don't have to climb over you to get out of the tent. They can go through their own door. They can store their backpack in their own vestibule. So if you have 2 people, a backpack in one vestibule, a backpack in another, this saves you a lot of sleeping space on the inside. This comes in at 4 pounds, 2 ounces when packed. And maybe you get into backpacking a little more and you're like, hey, I'm gonna be going out by myself. I'm gonna be getting into solo trips. That's when you might take a look at the Hornet and adding this to your collection. The Hornet is obviously smaller. This comes in at 2 pounds, 4 ounces when packed up. It has the 1 vestibule, so it is only for 1 person. It is also a little less sturdy than this one. As I said, due to the small size, there's just less holding it up. So in a strong windstorm, this one will hold up a lot better than this one. Still a very nice tent. I still love it. I still use it on my solo trips. Welcome to the inside of my Nemo Dagger 2-person tent. So the first thing you can see is all the space that I have in here, how I'm sitting up. There is a lot of room in this thing. Let's talk about some of the innovations that Nemo has made to their products. And these seem very small, and they are, but when they add up, it just makes for a better backpacking experience. The first thing I like to point people to is the headlamp diffusers on either side of the tent. Sometimes you just don't want to wear your headlamp. Maybe you're changing and you're pulling shirts over your head and it's dark out, or maybe you're reading and you're getting that headache from having a headlamp strapped to your head for hours at a time. You can stick a headlamp in one of these diffusing pockets, let's call it, and you get a lamp. The diffuser spreads the light out across the tent. It's just like turning a bed light lamp on in your house, and you would think, oh, I don't care. I can't tell you how much use I've gotten out of those. You can see that the bottom, the sides of this tent are this dark, non-see-through material. The rainfly of most backpacking tents don't go all the way to the ground. So if you're changing in your tent, people can see your naked butt usually, on the bottom of the tent. They have raised this non-see-through material up a little bit so that you have complete privacy in this tent. This is a gear net. This is an accessory that I bought. If you have, I don't know, knives, a phone, stuff like that, you can just throw it up here at night. Maybe you want this, maybe you don't. There are 4 pockets in this tent in every corner. I do backpack with the footprints to these tents, which are accessories that you can add on. Have never had a hole or a rip or a tear, so they've worked great for me. It gives me a better peace of mind, and it protects your expensive gear for longer. So I recommend getting a footprint, but of course you don't have to. You can see the 2 doors that I have in this tent that I spoke about, and you can see that my rain fly is kind of open, allowing this natural light to come in. This mesh around the Nemo tent is called a white see-through mesh. Basically, super nice for looking at the stars at night. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to sleep with a rain fly, you like to look at the stars, it's almost like this mesh isn't here. Nemo has designed this mesh for stargazing. Now we are in the Nemo Hornet, the smaller version, and as you can see, it is a much tighter squeeze. This one is built for speed and not comfort. You get all the same cool features, the high no-see mesh, you get the light pocket here. You also get this foot box at the end so that the tent is kind of a rectangle and not a triangle at the end, so you have more room for your feet, which is a really cool design. But it really is just, you are getting in this thing to sleep, which is the point of a tent, right? You're just gonna sleep in it. Only 1 pocket, obviously. There's less storage with something like this. Most of your stuff is going to hang out outside your vestibule. I also love how easy these tents are to set up. They're both 1-pole designs. I love the little snapping knobs that the ends of the tent go into instead of those traditional rings and loops. And I even love Nemo's tent pole stakes. This is a regular tent pole stake, and this is a Nemo stake. And the difference is you can see that Nemo only has 1 notch on one side, whereas a traditional tent pole stake has basically 3 sides to it. If you're like me, you like to take a rock from next to your campsite and hammer these things in. And I have broken way more of these right here at the thin part of the metal doing that than these. I don't think I've ever broken one of these with a rock. And I think that Nemo designed this because they are people that do the same thing, that go out backpacking, that find a rock, that smash their tent pole stakes, and they break a lot. So, yes, there's only 1 place to notch your guidelines together with a Nemo tent pole stake, but I believe that the sturdiness and how long these last goes a lot longer than one of these. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, I've owned these tents for 4+ years now. So Nemo has made some upgrades, mostly to the fabric of these models, but all in all, they're still the same tent. They do make the Hornet now in a 2-person and a 3-person version. So pick accordingly what you're looking for in your backpacking tent. I will say though, no matter which way you go, Nemo is always a great bet. If you'd like to see the full sleeping setup I use in these tents, I got a video right here for you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.